When a new rabbi or cantor is ordained, the ceremony of ordination is called smicha. The Hebrew word comes from the verb lismoch, meaning to lean on. Traditionally, we believe that pupils are leaning on their masters in order to become good clergy. However, I've recently encountered a beautiful alternative interpretation. Perhaps it is the masters who lean on the future generation of clergy to see the tradition carried forward. The word smicha can represent the hope that teachers place in their students for a brighter future. A future where ancient teachings will be taken to unprecedented places, and where old traditions will be developed in unparalleled ways. Pirkei Avot teaches, "Much have I learned from my teachers, but most of all from my students. Mikol melamdai iskalti, umitalmidai yoter mikulam." This teaching reminds us that true learning is a dynamic process, and the greatest insights often come from those we teach. It emphasizes the humility required to be both a teacher and a lifelong learner. Judaism teaches that students are not merely there to follow their master's teachings. With reverence, pupils are expected to surpass and outshine their own masters. Our age-old tradition expects new generations to become an even better version of those that came before them. To better prepare future generations to take the lead in enriching Judaism, Herjek is investing significantly. As you know, our Early Childhood Center is a success story that extends beyond the congregation, attracting families from various religious backgrounds and geographic locations. This year, we have hired a new director for our religious school to continue strengthening Jewish education at Herjek. We've also brought on a youth director to ensure that the fun activities geared towards children and teenagers are infused with Jewish content. Throughout the year and during the high holidays, we regularly invite young members of our congregation to lead different parts of the religious service. At the same time, we believe the outcome depends on a partnership with the families of our congregation. we will continue doing our part. And you invite and urge you to do yours. The responsibilities of parents towards their children are discussed in the Talmud, in Tractate Kiddushin. Among the main obligations, according to different Jewish traditions, 4 stand out. Parents must teach their children Torah. Ensure their children learn a profession. Help their children get married. And lastly, teach their children to swim. It's possible to imagine why our sages established these specific obligations. After all, they are connected to the main concerns of the past. But how about today? How could we update each of these 4 duties? The first obligation is to teach Judaism to our children. The Torah establishes the obligation for parents to educate their children through the words of the Shema Israel prayer. Veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam. You shall teach the words of the Shema to your children and speak of them. In our time, what does it mean to take responsibility for our children's Jewish education? Some will argue that this means sending children to a Jewish day school. Others who have chosen to enroll their children in public schools will seek supplementary Jewish education, like through our ECC, our religious school, or the youth initiatives at Herjek. However, I would like to propose another interpretation. I think that in the 21st century, teaching Judaism to children means creating a home where Judaism is a value present in every single decision. Thus, parents who, before scheduling family vacations, consider the Jewish calendar to check for conflicts with any holidays, are saying through concrete actions that Judaism matters to them. A home where Friday night dinner is more special and includes ritual elements like candles, challah, and wine, is demonstrating the significance of that day to the family. Parents who contribute to the community with their resources, whether it's their knowledge, time, money, or all at once, are transmitting values through their actions and leaving a lasting impression on their children through their example. The second obligation is to teach a profession. In the past, teaching a profession skill meant allowing a child at a certain age to accompany their parents and learn their trade. Typically, the child of a shoemaker would help with small tasks in the family workshop until one day they could take over their own workbench. The same was true for tailors, goldsmiths, and shochatim, kosher meat slaughters. In our time, parents teach their children a profession through the ethical practice of their own professions. Work ethics. Professionals who put ethics first are transmitting an invaluable lesson to their children. As it is written, train a child in the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not depart from it. Children who grow up in homes where parents conduct their work with deep ethical concern are being educated to one day become ethical professionals themselves. This is no small challenge. Being an ethical professional often means resisting temptations, taking more complicated paths, and sometimes earning less. However, for those who believe in the value of ethics, there are no alternatives. Through their personal example, parents are teaching their children a profession. The third obligation is to marry off your children. In the past, most marriages were arranged. Often, before children were born, they were promised to the children of another couple who had not yet conceived. These arrangements were motivated by two main reasons: money and lineage, yichus. Thus, a wealthy family had more choices than a simple family. And the same was true for a family with generation of respected rabbis. This was also a crucial factor in arranging a shidduch. In our time, what does it mean to marry off your children? I would suggest that the key to this question lies in the relationship model that parents establish between themselves. Parents who love each other, respect each other, create spaces for dialogue, have flexibility within their relationship, honor, support, and admire each other. Send an encouraging message. It is worth building a life with someone you love. I believe that marrying off a child today means building an inspiring relationship with your spouse so that your children see it and want to do the same. The most unusual of the obligations is teaching your child to swim. It's easy to understand why this duty was essential in the past. At a time when water transportation was widely used and posed great danger, knowing how to swim could mean the difference between survival and drowning. Parents who put their children in the water early were fulfilling their duty to their children's physical safety, and they could defend themselves in the case of shipwreck. I would like to suggest, however, that the duty to teach children to swim be interpreted metaphorically. Those who enter the waters of life need to know how to swim both with the tide and at times against it. We live in a time when everyone wants to be popular. A person's fame is measured by the number of TikTok friends. More than ever, parents need to prepare their children to pay the price for authenticity, coherence, and opposition, even when it is extremely unpopular. As important as swimming with the tide and gaining the favor of the majority is having the courage to say no. Being faithful to your own convictions may mean saying what others don't want to hear. When the popular opinion is wrong in the eyes of your children, their muscle must be well trained so they have the courage to be unpopular. Swimming instructor parents are those who teach their children to listen to others and at the same time be true to themselves. Rosh Hashanah is a holiday that brings the family together in the synagogue. May this be a good opportunity to reflect on the roles as a congregation towards the young generation. But Rosh Hashanah is also a moment that brings family around meals at home. Let this also be a moment that encourages us to re-examine the roles we fulfill as parents and check if we are transmitting Torah by creating a home where Judaism is taken into account, teaching a profession through the ethical practice of our own, promoting marriage through a respectful relationship with current life partners. And finally, raising swimmers who can pay the price of unpopularity when that is the right thing to do. May we make sure we ordain a generation we feel confident and proud to lean on. Shana Tova.